Welcome back to the Road to National series. In today's episode, I'm going to take you through a max effort upper workout, and later in the video, I'm going to be telling you about warm-ups, everything that I think you should be doing when you're warming up. So first things first, this is me doing my max effort variation for the week, which is the strict press. Now, this is a bit of a weird day for me because I went in to do this max effort. My previous best was 90 kilos almost a year ago, and 92.5 kilos felt like it completely didn't move there. However, I just decided to grit and bear it and then managed to hit it here, which is super weird. The strict press just feels like a weird max effort, but then I had to go. I couldn't do the rest of my workout and I had to come back later, and I sort of forgot I'd done a max effort. So I built up to a different max effort. Now, this is a camber bar rack lockout. I've never done this variation before, and I went up to 120 kilos here, and it was an absolute grind. Doing a rack lockout with no momentum, no stretch reflex from a camber bar, like deeper position than off your chest like a normal bench, it is a crazy way to get rid of your power. So I think I'm going to be doing more variations like that because I think it just helps you generate so much power out of that bottom position. So moving on to the accessories here, I started off with overhead tricep extensions, went really heavy on these for me. I've got crazy tricep DOMs today, which it is the day after at the time of recording this voiceover. Then I did close mag grip lat pull downs, and I do a drop set on my second set of those, so you can watch out for that. I use drop set pins, so it's quite a quick, smooth transition, and I recommend you pick up some drop set pins too, and you'll be able to do drop sets like that on anything with a weight stack. So look out for that during the video later. Then I did incline dumbbell press. Now, in the first set, my top turned into a crop top. Apologies for that. I'm like flashing my stomach, but I couldn't adjust it because I was holding the dumbbells. And then the second set, I decided to go on a bit of a steeper incline. I have never really done incline dumbbell pressing before, and I was surprised how easy the weights moved. So that was very good. Then I did machine chest flies. Now, I probably went a bit too heavy on these. So in the second set, I did a drop set again and used the drop set pins again. Then I did dumbbell side lateral drop sets, like a crazy massive drop set from 20 to 15 to 10 to 5 kilos, and then from 15 to 10 to 5 kilos. So stick around for the end. My shoulders were absolutely burning after that. And then I did single arm dumbbell preacher curls, just using the bench as like a preacher pad. That was fantastic for isolating the biceps, and I'm feeling really strong. Like, I didn't used to train my biceps, but I've started doing that now, and I was able to move a solid amount of weight, had the 20 kilo dumbbells for some really strict single arm curls. So that is all of my accessories for today, and whilst those are playing in the background, I'm going to talk to you about warm-ups. Just a quick note as well, I was supposed to have abs, that is programmed now. I've said and been open on the channel that I don't like training abs, but that is not why I missed them. It is because when I did the ab wheel, my last session, I still have DOMs today. It's been like an entire week. I think I'm going a bit too hard on them because my abs are not conditioned enough yet, because I hadn't worked them out and trained them for so long to push them that hard. Like the rest of my body, my chest, my triceps, I can basically push as hard as I want, and I'll have a bit of DOMs, but I'll always be recovered by the next session. However, with abs, I'm really unconditioned to doing it, so I naturally want to push hard whenever I train anything, but I need to dial that back in a bit. So that's why I didn't do abs in this session, and there's that little crop top. Apologies for my stomach sticking out there. So moving on to warm-ups, the first thing to say is the point of a warm-up is to get blood flow to the working muscles. That is basically your goal. I think people sometimes overcomplicate warm-up, particularly because there has been lots of different fads and ideas that you need to sort of stretch and do all these funky things and sometimes weird mobility routines. The main thing you are trying to do is to get blood flow to your working muscles. So a very effective way of doing that can be to do cardio. So I do think that doing some cardio at the beginning, that gets blood flow around your body in general. That can be very effective, but I wouldn't do it for too long. If you do like a 30-minute cardio session, that can fatigue you for your training. So I would do maybe 5-10 minutes tops on a cardio machine at quite a low intensity. And if you want to do more cardio at the end of your workout after you've done your weight training, that is when I'd recommend you do that. The other way that I like to do warming up is this. So this is my warm-up guide. I'll just flash this on screen quickly, but basically the idea is that you are going to do 2 different exercises. You're going to do them really light. So if it was a day like today, I'm doing an upper workout and I was doing an upper max like a bench, I'd pick something like a chest exercise, maybe like a dumbbell press, and then something else like a back exercise just to warm up pressing in general and pulling in general, warm up the upper body, do like 20 rep really light sets and just alternate them and do like 2 rounds of that in a circuit. So it's like 80 reps in total. 20 reps of the first exercise, straight into 20 reps of the second exercise, straight into 20 of the first, and then 20 of the second again. And that is a great way of getting that blood flowing. Like I said, the aim of a warm-up is simply to get blood flowing to the muscles that you are going to use. Now, as I quickly mentioned earlier, I wouldn't advise stretching. When I think people take warm-ups and make them way too complicated, you are not supposed to stretch in terms of like deep stretching and like a long 10-15 minute stretch workout almost before you start. That is not what you should be doing as part of your warm-up. Dynamic stretching is okay. That's the sort of thing that you see like athletes do when they're on the sidelines warming up, like footballers or rugby players. They'll be like swinging their legs. That is dynamic stretching, where you're moving through a range of motion quite quickly and you're just trying to warm yourself up, basically get the blood flowing again and get yourself feeling comfortable through that range of motion. And maybe on a day, for instance, like today, when I was doing a camber bar bench press, getting into that really deep position could be hard. So if you wanted to do like a dynamic chest stretch, like flinging your arms to the side and stretching your pecs, that would be great, but I wouldn't do any static stretching. I wouldn't try and sit in a position. There's been studies that can actually cause you to be weaker if you stretch before training, but also I wouldn't stretch a cold muscle. That can damage it. All that stretching, I would wait until the end of your workouts, in your cool downs. If you're wanting to do mobility work, then that can be fantastic. But the main thing is if you are wanting to increase your range of motion, like I said on the camber bar bench press, you can do some dynamic stretches, but also just increase your range of motion in your warm-up set. So if you're not comfortable going straight into like a cambered bar bench press position, do a few sets of regular benching and then go into the camber bar position. Slowly build up the range of motion. That is a better way to warm you up if like mobility is your limiting factor and you'd normally want to stretch. Instead of actually stretching, just build up the range of motion with your warm-up sets. So the next thing I'll just quickly say, I don't know why I didn't mention this first, but the main 2 benefits of warming up are that 1, it is going to reduce your injury risk. I think everybody knows this, but you get injured when you're not physically prepared to do something. And whilst you might be generally physically prepared to do something, you might have like 5x5 programmed at a certain percentage, like 75% of your 1 rep max on the day. You might generally be prepared to do that. You're probably not prepared to jump straight into that and definitely not at your working weight. So I've shown you how I would advise warming up, maybe some quick session on the cardio machine, maybe some dynamic stretches if you want, and then that circuit which I suggested. But also I would do warm-up sets. Don't jump straight to your working weight, because that is going to increase your injury chances. And the second thing that warming up provides as a benefit is that it's actually going to increase your chances of success less with your programming. So for me, today I had a max effort. I am going to lift more if I warm up properly. Now, some people want to just save their energy, but if I tried to jump straight away, for instance, to the 120 kilo camber bar rack lockout, there is a great chance that in such a stretched position, I could have like tweaked my pec or anything like that. And more importantly, well, not more importantly, but almost equally as important, I have a much lower chance of succeeding that. I think people, when they first get into the gym, think you can just jump straight to whatever's programmed, as if that programming takes into account warming up. It doesn't. You need to build up to it, and I would always do warm up sets. And then leading on from this as well, if you are doing heavy accessories, I would also do warm-up. So for instance, today, my lat pull downs at 200 pounds. For me, that is heavy. Even though I can do a set of 10 at it, that is still pretty heavy. And my original movements of this workout were pressing movements. That's what my upper maxes were, and that's what my tricep extensions were working on. When I got round to like a back and pulling movement, my lat pull downs, I wasn't fully warmed up to do pulling movements. So I did a set, I've not shown it in the video, but I did a set at 100 pounds, then another quick set at 150 pounds, just to warm up my back and pulling before that accessory. So your warm up doesn't just have to be right at the beginning of your workout and then just go through all of your workout. You should also warm up for any accessory that you think is going to be particularly strenuous. And that could be, in fact, for any accessory that you just want to make sure you're prepared for. It doesn't necessarily have to be a heavy exercise like I mentioned with the lat pull downs. It could be something like this bicep curl. This isolates the bicep so much that maybe you don't feel confident jumping straight to your working weight. Doing a light set to warm up is always going to be a good idea. So that is it for today's video. I hope you did, in fact, enjoy the video. If you did, drop it a like, drop it a comment, subscribe, click the bell, all of that good stuff, and have a great day.